What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Now, after 4 WWE superstars have been released from the company in one day, the drama continues as 2 superstars have been suspended for 30 days for wellness violations. More releases are on the way. WWE teasing to split a duo. More backstage news regarding Harper's release and how the WWE managed to get one up on him. And some TLC matches that have been scrapped, possibly due to injury. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more videos like this. But let's waste no further time and get straight into the first bit of news, as 2 WWE superstars have been suspended for wellness violations. Now, in the last decade or so, WWE has taken any wellness violations very seriously. In fact, they even suspended Roman Reigns not too long ago. But if you take a quick gander on WWE.com, there is an exhaustive list of policies that cover non-medical use of drugs, as well as alcohol and the severity of penalties should a wrestler be in breach of it. Not much information has been given so far, but 2 WWE superstars have been guilty of violating the policy, that being Robert Roode and one half of the Colognes, Eddie Colon. WWE just announced WWE has suspended Eddie Colon, Primo, and Robert Roode each for 30 days effective immediately for a first violation of the company's talent wellness policy. Robert Roode has been given somewhat of a push with Dolph Ziggler and recently faced Roman Reigns in a losing effort, of course, where he was stretchered off after the match. And Eddie Colon, aka Primo, well, he hasn't been doing much since last year with his brother, as their last televised match was at the Survivor Series. They have worked a few dark matches though, but pretty much none since January of this year. It's unsure if there were any plans of bringing the Colognes back to television, but to be honest, we're surprised they're even there. However, the policy is in effect even if you're on the sidelines. It's funny since this has come after Enzo recently spoke with Chris Van Vliet and noted that half the locker room smokes marijuana. We're not stating that it could be that, but it could be a possibility. Hopefully we'll have more information in the few days to come. Next up, more releases are coming, says Meltzer. Yeah, we know we've rinsed this news, but after the recent report from Tom Colohue, he suggested there are wrestlers who are using this opportunity to hand in their notice, hopefully at a chance to get released if they're unhappy in the company. Dave Meltzer recently added, there are more to come. They all got the word of their releases on Sunday, and then WWE put it up. So yeah, Luke Harper and the Ascension and Sin Cara. Which is interesting because, and I've heard that there's more to come, I was told that there would be releases and then it was, no, nobody's getting released. And it kinda goes back and forth on what they're gonna do. There's people who have asked for their release who were not released, and there's people who asked for their release, like Sin Cara asked for his release and Luke Harper asked for his release in April, I think. Sin Cara was more recent. Yeah, it's still not a definite answer, but it's likely the WWE will use this opportunity to do some more spring cleaning on the roster. In fact, it's also been mentioned that they could be spring cleaning NXT. But Mike Kanellis, who handed his release sometime in November, still hasn't got an answer from WWE. Meltzer noted, Mike Kanellis did ask for his release, but he's not been released yet. Everyone I've heard from says that Mike Kanellis has done everything that they've asked. His time may come early in the year. But whilst we're on the topic of releases, there's more backstage news on Luke Harper's release, and it seems that WWE had the last laugh. It seems on the surface of things that WWE did Harper a favour by releasing him from his contract early after they already added some time from his injury earlier in the year. But it looks like WWE had the last laugh, as since Harper has to wait out the 90-day no-compete clause, where he can't work anywhere, it finishes around the time his WWE contract would have finished anyway. Meltzer mentioned, yeah, we got a lot of news from Meltzer today. With a 90-day no-compete clause, Harper is eligible to wrestle for other companies on March 8th. He will be a free agent on March 8th. His contract would have already been up by now, but they've tacked on time due to his wrist injury, but with the time tacked on and frozen, he would have been a free agent on March 25th. So it's 17 days. So it's kinda like they're releasing him because it's not really anything different. Wow, missing out on pay just to get a whole 17 days early? We get that he asked his release months before, but this is obviously a tactical game done by WWE. They were just waiting long enough so that the 90-day no-compete clause will effectively not have him working until, really, March, when his contract was coming to an end anyway. Sneaky move, WWE. Next up, WWE are teasing a split between a Raw duo. Now it looks like one Raw duo is coming to an end soon, that being the partnership of Selena, Vega and Andrade, who have been paired together since July of 2017 in NXT, when they were drafted together on SmackDown in April of 2018. Wrestling Inc. noted that there was tension between the two, as the two were blaming each other during Andrade's match with Humberto Carrillo on Raw last night. They could be heard saying outside the ring, "This is your fault. I'm over this," Vega yelled at Andrade. "This isn't even you. Don't talk to me like that because you know, we're always on the same page." Andrade then walked away and Selena was then interviewed saying, "Andrade and I are fine, okay? We're totally fine. It's never been more fine. We have had disagreements before, we will get through this. However, he needs to understand that this was not my fault. It was just a miscommunication. That is all. That's it." Well, you know in WWE when someone says everything is fine, it's really not. So we could see an angle where the two will split eventually. Obviously this is all part of a storyline, but non-kayfabe wise, let's hope this has nothing to do with Charlotte Flair, Andrade's real-life girlfriend, as she has demonstrated to have some serious pulling power backstage. It's quite worrying because with Andrade's ability with the English language, how far will the WWE push him without his mouthpiece Zelina Vega? It's possible they could get him and Flair together. It could also mean that Zelina might be paired with her real-life husband Aleister Black, but nothing is certain just yet. Next up, some TLC matches have been scrapped. Well, a fair few matches have been announced for this Sunday's TLC pay-per-view, as only just recently we had 0 matches on the card, but it's possible 1 or 2 matches will still be announced on SmackDown that might cover the pre-show. Oddly, no major titles are on the line apart from the SmackDown and Women's Tag titles. 2 matches, however, that were rumoured to be on the card might not happen. That being the Viking Raiders vs the OC and Seth Rollins vs Kevin Owens. At this stage, it's possibly a good idea to save Rollins vs Owens for the Rumble, as this could be an awesome feud, especially with Rollins turning heel. Also, thanks to an injury, a Braun Strowman vs Shinsuke Nakamura match for the Intercontinental Championship, which was also rumoured to be on the cards, may have been scrapped due to Strowman's injury, where he was pulled from a live event earlier this week. According to Dave Meltzer, Nakamura and Strowman, they were supposed to do an angle on Friday Night SmackDown, but they couldn't because Strowman got hurt and he couldn't do the angle. They might have to hold this one off until after TLC, possibly leading up to the Rumble. Next up, Booker T's pick for the best promo guy ever. 2-time WWE Hall of Famer Booker T recently discussed who he thinks the best promo guy in wrestling is. Booker, who was known for cutting some good promos himself, revealed his pick during an episode of his The Hall of Fame podcast.
Definitely, it's been so many great promos. The Rock, The Rock, the best, promo guy that I think ever did it because he really knew how to capture the moment. And when I say capture the moment, just like, we're in Louisiana, and he's in the ring, but he's got to talk about coming across the puncher train, Lake Okeechobee or whatever,
Right.
And then he got to talk about the stadium, and then he got to talk about somewhere that he went ate, and then, so.
And he took you on a story.
Exactly, so when you do it like that, man, you're going, oh, man, this fool, man, I'm stealing all that next time.
The way he was able to get the crowd to sing along with him, right?
Yeah.
Like where the crowd knew the joke, they knew the bit, but they couldn't wait for their moment to get in on it.
Yeah.
That was the cool thing, because I remember The Rock when he'd even be cutting a promo in the back with Michael Cole, not even in front of the audience, and he would just go, "And for the millions," and then he'd pause in a pre-tape. He'd pause and let the crowd still say, "And millions of The Rock's fans." He was one of the best. He was one of the best ever, and then Flair, of course.
Yeah, definitely, and that's why I give props, man. I give props where props are due. I mean, those guys were good at what they did, man, and I don't think they'll ever be any better.
The Rock was gracious and replied on Twitter, "Thank you, brother, for this high praise. Booker T will always be the best pure athlete performer I've ever had the honor for sharing the wrestling ring with. His athleticism, in-ring timing and intensity was unmatched. This is why he's a WWE Hall of Famer." The Rock wasn't the only person Booker put over. While the WWE writers are often criticized, Booker had nothing but praise for one former WWE writer, crediting him with part of his as well as The Rock's success.
Back then, we had a great writer named Brian Garutz that worked with us.
Who works for The Rock now.
Yeah, and I tell you, man, this guy, man, he was such a different dude. You know, you watch him on the outside looking in, you go, man, who's this guy, man? Get him out of here. But then, you know, realize that's the smartest guy in the room. You know, you go, wait a minute, you get out of the room. You know, he stays, you know, because he's the guy that's got all the knowledge. You know what I mean? He's got all the stuff in his head that I don't know where it came from. But, you know, that guy, he worked with The Rock, and he worked with me, you know, so many times when I was King Booker. He really made my character, King Booker, come to life, and he made that thing special. I didn't know, it's no way that I could have done King Booker without Gerwitz coaching me, writing for me, and showing me the routes to take with that character each and every night. And he would come to me with some stuff, and then it would sound so stupid, you know, and I would go out and deliver it every time, you know, and I would change it a little bit. He would give me liberty to, you know, just do what I wanted to do with it, but he would really put me in the light to shine at the highest level. And I'm sure The Rock got so much of that working with Brian as well.
Sadly, the WWE no longer seems to have writers of this caliber, or they've been stifled by Vince McMahon. And lastly, some change of plans for Raw. Last night's episode of Raw cemented Seth Rollins' heel turn, as he now officially allied with AOP. However, plans were changed at the last minute due to Rollins suffering an injury at a house show in Georgia against Eric Rowan. Rollins was supposed to work a match against Cedric Alexander, but he broke his little finger, so plans were changed and the match didn't happen. The injury may also contribute to them not going ahead with the Rollins vs Owens match at TLC. However, that's just speculation. But that was the latest wrestling news. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.